Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, really excited to be bringing you this look at the McFarlane Toys Collector Edition Clock King and Platinum Clock King. Now, this is an interesting one because as we can see, this may say Clock King on the package of the Platinum, but any comic aficionado will tell you, any Doom Patrol aficionado will tell you, this is actually Dr. Tyme, a villain of Doom Patrol, a clock-themed villain of Doom Patrol. So what McFarlane Toys has done here is pretty interesting. They've taken their Clock King, they've given us a Platinum chase, but rather than just doing a straight repaint, they have given us a whole new character with a unique head sculpt. We'll get into that when we look at the figure, but it's a very interesting strategy, and I just had to get both because if you know anything about me and my tastes, you will know that I just love a campy villain, you know, preferably if they originated in the 50s or 60s, and especially if they've got a really dorky gimmick. And Clock King fits the bill, so does Dr. Tyme, two Tyme themed villains. Really excited to be looking at these figures. Now, better just shout out Head Start Toys, McFarlane Toys, thank you for sending me this sample for review. And Dr. Tyme here, I picked up from Green Rock Comics. Great store, great prices, free shipping over $100. So thank you Green Rock for making sure that I could get the standard release and the platinum release and bring you this review of both. Along the side, we can see that this is Clock King from no particular comic run, and it's number 18 in the McFarlane Collector Edition series. And on the back here, we have this amazing 60s style art of Clock King, and I really love this. You can see him facing off against the Green Arrow, and of course, Clock King was originally a foe of the Green Arrow. And this is the William Tachman version of Clock King, and I think I was first introduced to the character from Batman the Animated Series, and in that incarnation his name was Temple Fugit, and he kind of more resembled the Riddler in a brown suit and bowler hat with a clock theme. Very, very different. I'm grateful we're getting this William Tachman version because it's extremely corny, and I just really love corny old school villains. Alright, so before I bust these guys open, I'm just going to have to do my dues. Ask you please, if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this, consider subscribing. Just click the button for me, it really helps me out. I've just reached 3,500 subscribers, really proud, and I'm grateful for all of you, I truly am. And if this video ends up being helpful, entertaining or informative, why not give it a like? That also helps me surface my video to more viewers. Anyway, without further ado, let's crack Dr. Tyme and Clock King open and see how cool they really are. Okay, so this is what we get in the box. Now, I haven't laid out the identical accessories for both figures because they are the same. I'm just going to show you what is unique. So they both come with a very thin, basic, boring display stand, and this is the collector edition version, so it comes with a nice DC logo printed on. This is nice. It feels maybe a little bit less shiny, maybe a different plastic than usual, but it's still the same, and it's good to have, but it's not exciting. We also get the card stand. Now, I had someone commenting in my last video where I trashed the card stand that they really love them, so more power to you. I'm happy for you. I do think these are going the way of the dodo, and if they're not, and if they're going to keep including these, they can't include this at the expense of proper accessories. That's all I'll say about that. We also get the collector card, and it has that same really cool retro art of Clock King fighting Green Arrow. I really love that. Look at the colours on this guy. What an absolute dork. You've got to love him. On the back, you'll see the data file for William Tachman. You can pause there and read the ridiculous story of Clock King. Now, in terms of substantive accessories, there aren't a lot. Really what we're talking about are these two clock hand blades. Now, these are actually really, really nice. You've got your hour hand, your minute hand. They both appear to be painted gold. If this is gold plastic, it's really, really nice. I suspect these are painted, and they look tremendous. Like, they're really clean, really shiny, has sort of a metal look to it, and the sculpt is really, really nice. So, yeah, I mean, for what they're worth, they fit the character. They're, you know, nicely sculpted, nicely painted. They're not too bendy, but they've got a bit of flex in them. I like these a lot, so really nice accessory. And for Dr. Tyme, you'll see we get these in a sort of a silver paint job. Again, looks like silver paint, looks really, really nice. Unfortunately, I just don't know how applicable these are for Dr. Tyme. I do not remember Dr. Tyme using clock hand blades, so query whether they fit. And that's basically it, guys, for accessories. Like, you've seen it all, and then it's just the figures. So yeah, in terms of accessories for these guys, there really just isn't much. and especially for a collector edition price point, I really think for characters like this with loads of personality, it would have been really fun to get some gesture hands like a thumbs up or a pointy finger or a claw hand. These guys are packed full of personality. Why not give them some alternate hands to really show off that personality? It's 2 little bits of plastic in the box. You've already got the molds from other figures. Just chuck them in. Give us a bit of extra value. That's all I would say. Anyway, let's have a look at the figures themselves. Okay, so here we have Clock King and Dr. Tyme, a very interesting strategy by McFarlane Toys, giving us a standard release and using the Platinum Chase variant to give us basically a whole new character. Doesn't say Dr. Tyme on the box, but this is Dr. Tyme. It just is. So really, really interesting, I would say confusing way of doing things. Why not take the opportunity just to release a Dr. Tyme figure labeled Dr. Tyme with his own collector card? I think you would encourage people to collect him that way. You could even have him be a Platinum Chase if you want, but at least give him, proper packaging with the right name. I don't know. I don't understand the logistics of it all, but to me it's a little bit weird. This isn't the first time McFarlane has used a Platinum Chase variant to give us a whole new character. The most recent example I can think of is the Starfire Blackfire example, but this is more pronounced than that because unlike in that scenario where the paint job was completely different but the figure was the same, here the figures are not the same. Paint job aside, Dr. Tyme has a completely unique head sculpt. Completely different in every way. It's a whole new paint job, a whole new sculpt. So they've gone to that extra effort. And it's just baffling to me why they just wouldn't make him his own release, even as a Platinum Chase. I digress. Here are the figures, and I think they look wonderful. Like, just if you take them on their own terms, and I'm sort of speaking about both of them, let's especially focus on Clock King, I think, because he is the star of the show. I think he looks amazing. I think McFarlane has nailed the colours. They are vibrant, they read sort of retro, they read 60s classic. I love it. Of course, these figures are both using the Nightfall Batman body, which has become one of my favourite body bucks in the whole line. I think it's just got really nice proportions. It's heroic, muscular, but not too buff. Perfect for these guys, and it's got these really nice like wrinkle lines throughout it, so it has texture. So even a simple paint job like Dr. Tyme still has visual points of interest. So I really love this body. Great body for these two. Let's take Clock King at a closer examination to see what's different. So you will see that this is basically Nightfall Batman all over with a unique belt, and here's the belt with the clock face on it. Looks wonderful, beautifully painted clock design there, nicely sculpted, I like it a lot. And you will see that Clock King and Dr. Tyme both have unique gloves here with a little watch accessory, sort of sculpted in, really, really nice embellishment to that basic body buck to make this feel a little bit more bespoke, a bit unique. And of course, you'll see he comes with the cloth cape. We'll have a look at that more in a second. But in terms of other embellishments, I think this is unique. Amongst all the Nightfall body figures that we've had to date, this guy kind of just has this like sculpted strapline around his arms. And I have not seen that on any of the Nightfall Batmans or Catman or Manga Batman or any of the other ones using this body. I can't remember seeing this like upper torso sculpt. So it seems like it's basically unique in every way. Sorry, it's exactly the same in every way, but unique in this one way. I find that really interesting, and I wonder why that is the case. But I like it. Anything that sort of differentiates it from similar figures, I really like it. And of course, you'll see he has this wonderful head sculpt, which is just terrifically painted. And now, if this head sculpt wasn't so beautifully painted, so crisply painted, and it wasn't straight and aligned, it would be a disaster. But luckily, McFarlane has nailed it. It's really clean, really crisp, wonderful. And you see, it's just a very funny looking head. It's a head with a giant mask strapped on. Clock King really is ridiculous, and I love him. Elsewhere on the figure, you will see that he's cast in that beautiful bright blue, and these clock designs, motifs, painted all over his body, have just been applied beautifully. There's not one splotchy paint job to be seen, at least on mine. It's crisp, it's clear, even these little black lines for the clock hands are beautiful. Like, it's just exceptionally well done, and I really like that, because if the paint had been bad, he would look bad, but he kind of looks, at a distance, really perfect to me. I think the paint job is exemplary. You've even got like, little clocks painted right here on the joint. It's lovely. There is nothing on the back, but that's kind of okay. You're not going to see him from the back, and that would have been overkill, I guess. Yeah, a really great looking figure, guys. Just excellent. Now this cape, It is wired, but you'll see it's made of this starchy material, and I've been on a bit of a bender against this starchy material lately. I think it almost ruined the Adam West Batman, not quite, still a great figure, but that starchy material just wouldn't hold a pose, didn't feel good, didn't look good. This is better, this is not as bad as that. The wire here along the edges is strong enough for this to hold a pose, so I really like that, and it looks alright. I think, it really just depends on how strong the wire is, how long the cape is. For this, I think, while I don't love this material, it's not my favourite. I much prefer the soft fabric that they have for other figures like Tim Drake and Ragman, who I recently reviewed. Check my review out. I think this is okay. It's just, it could be better, and I really hope they find some consistency in terms of the materials they use, because some are clearly better than others. But this is perfectly fine. The colour's good, it matches the paint. It certainly gives you a lot more in terms of posing options, I guess, which I really, really love. You can have it billowing off to the side, I just think it's really nice. I love the cloth cape initiative overall, but I really feel like McFarlane is still finding his feet in terms of materials and how to sort of connect them to the body and their structure, and he's experimenting, and that's okay. Some are better than others, but this is certainly alright overall. And one thing I will say that's unfortunate is some blue paint splotches have made their way and transferred onto the cape here and over here as well, so that's just a little bit messy. It's not a big deal, I can pose it so you can't see it, but it is a bit sad to see. But yeah, I'm not going to go over articulation really. This guy moves just like Nightfall Batman. It was a great figure that moved well, and this one moves well. It's well articulated, got lots of good movement in the arms and the legs, and he's great fun. He'll do whatever you want, and it's all pretty standard. You've seen it now at least 3 or 4 times, and this is a good version of that buck. The head sculpt's great. It tilts from left to right. It's a little bit stiff, but you can make it work. And yeah, lots of expression there. You can tilt his head down, you can tilt his head up, more than you would expect. It's pretty good. So everything else you've seen before and everything that's new works really well. There's nothing to complain about here, in my opinion. This figure is great, except for the material of that cape. It just could be a little bit better. It certainly doesn't ruin the figure by any means, and he's still tremendous. A lot of fun, and I can't imagine this guy not making my top 20 of the year, to be honest. He's just that much fun, honestly, and right up my alley in terms of design. Ridiculous, dorky, executed cleanly, competently, and accurate to the source material. He's just fun, and he's using this excellent body buck, and everything that makes him Clock King works exceptionally well. These clock designs, the head sculpt, the belt, it's all there and accounted for. And he comes with these really, really cool clock hand accessories, but I do wish he came with some more accessories, like some alternate hands. That really would have lifted him up over the edge and elevated the figure. But it's a home run by and large by McFarlane Toys, and I think it's time we have a look at Dr. Tyme. So there's not a huge amount to say about Dr. Tyme. He really is just a repaint of Clock King with a brand new head sculpt, and yet, that's kind of his charm. What I can say is I really love the colour of this cape. I think it's just beautiful, rich, dark purple colour. Looks very accurate to the source material. It looks great, really, really, really nice. The plastic they've chosen for the legs is great also. It's this midnighty blue, which I think is just perfect for the character. You'll see that continues on into the gloves here. The green they've chosen for the torso is also great and fairly comic accurate, as far as I can remember. And this stripe down the middle for that Dr. Tyme sort of motif, I think it's just been really, really crisply painted, and it continues even if you lift the diaphragm up. So I really, really like that. Nicely done. And smartly done. You'll see he has the exact same gloves as Clock King. Yeah, but like I said, he doesn't have the exact same head sculpt. You'll see here it is completely oversized and different. He's got this massive clock face, and this is quite accurate to his design in the comics. This huge, crazy clock face with these red eyes and the little sculpted details at the top, the mandibles at the bottom. It's exactly how he looks, and I think McFarlane has really nailed it. It's perfect. It's been perfectly painted. It almost looks like a sticker. It's so crisp, but no, that's topography on the clock face, and it's just really, really beautifully done. I love the way the eyes have been drawn on there. Really crisp, really comic accurate. He's absolutely nailed it. It's so good, I wonder why this guy wasn't given his own figure. It's just so nicely done, and it's not lazy at all, which is sometimes the case for these Platinum Chase variants. So yeah, it's beautifully executed, and I think they've done a really, really great job. Really the only flaw of Dr. Tyme is that he just doesn't come with any unique accessories of his own. I don't know what a unique accessory for Dr. Tyme would be. And I guess the only other flaw with the figure that I could point to is this belt. I mean, it has the exact same sculpt as Clock King, but none of the paint, and it's not accurate to the comic at all. It's just this sort of grey colour. It looks a little bit unfinished and a bit cheap, and I don't like it. I kind of wish they'd just given him a proper belt that's accurate to the figure. I can't imagine that removing this and substituting something else on would have been too different. They gave him a unique head, so give him a unique belt. But look, that's a nitpick in the grand scheme of things. This is a Platinum Chase. It's not its own standalone figure, and as far as a Platinum goes, it's really one of the more unique and exciting ones. It's a whole new villain with a whole new head sculpt, and yeah, it's just a great addition to your DC Multiverse. Now, we haven't got any Doom Patrol figures up and running yet, so no functioning Doom Patrol, but when we do, we'll have a Dr. Tyme for them to face up against, and I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, guys, these are winners. They're both really cool figures. It doesn't matter if you buy one or both or either of them. I think you'll be happy. I think they're both absolutely worth it. You know, a couple of more accessories would have been really, really good to up the value, but the figures themselves are great, and it really shows what McFarlane can do when they really put some thought and consideration into these repaints. Okay, and now it's time for comparisons, and this one is a real mixed bag. From left to right, we have the Adam West Batman 66. Now, I think that was a really, really great figure that'll pose nicely against Clock King. They both have a real goofy 60s silly edge to them, and I really like that. And then coming up next to him is the Green Arrow from the Longbow Hunters comic. We know that Clock King was originally a foe of the Green Arrow, so they look really, really cool together, I guess, even though they're from slightly different eras in terms of comic continuity. Yeah, I think that works really, really well. Of course, we have Clock King and Dr. Tyme, and to his right, then we have Catman, who's one of my other favourite figures, a really goofy, gimmicky, retro-style villain, using that same Nightfall buck, incidentally, so it's another great use of that buck, and I can see here, now that I look at him, that those brown straps around Catman's shoulders are exactly the same straps that I saw on the upper torso of Clock King, so that is where it's from. Catman uses a modified Nightfall sculpt, and Clock King uses the Catman sculpt, so mystery solved, I guess. But anyway, I think all of these look really, really great together on a shelf, and I just really love how McFarlane is expanding the DC Multiverse world to include all these goofy characters. So, in case it wasn't obvious, I'm clearly a huge fan of both of these figures. They fit right into my preferred aesthetic, which is campy, goofy, retro, silly, funny. I really, really love them, full of personality, and I'm super glad I picked up both the regular and platinum release. I think they both have a lot to offer. Their colour schemes are completely different, and of course those head sculpts, you know, are unique, so really you're getting two characters here, and I think even Dr. Tyme, for being a Platinum Chase, is executed on to quite a high level. Not perfect, mind you, the accessories don't suit him, neither does that belt, but really good. And Clock King just looks amazing. I just think he's so much fun. His accessories are great, his paint is great, the cape is that starchy material that I don't love, but other than that, these two are must-haves. So that's all from me. If this video has been informative, entertaining, or helpful, why not give it a like? And if you haven't subscribed, please do. In the meantime, friends, thank you so much for watching this video, and happy collecting.